Good morning, hello, or regardless of what time space you're in. Today I'll be talking about how I bless my junk. And before we start, I just want to kind of create some tones and relax, because the subject matter I'll be talking about is personal and sensitive and maybe triggering for some. And my hope is that you don't get triggered, because my intention is to really help you awaken and heal. And the way I see one of the ways is by blessing our junk. So I want to ask you, and I might even, by the way, be referring to some notes, and that's to kind of help me stay on track. Because as I said, this is very deep. I'm very passionate about this, and it's very personal. And I've been encouraged to do this video series with the help of good friends and to put the message out there. So that's what I'm doing. So I want to ask you, do you actually bless your junk? Meaning all that stuff, all the crisis, maybe some traumas that maybe you've experienced, disappointments, betrayals. Do you bless it? Do you bless maybe your own mistakes? Maybe you hurt somebody and you have a lot of regrets or guilt. Do you bless it? So why am I doing this? I'm doing this video, like I said, because I was encouraged to. But because, I'm going to say, you might see this in reverse, I'm not sure because we're on camera. But because it started with the metoo campaign. And yes, me too. And then seeing the courage and the shift and the vibrations and the energies that are out there that are allowing us to all talk, but not only just talk about what happened to us, but I also want to talk about the healing and how we can change our path and our futures. Talking about the scary things of the Roy Moores that might get elected as a senator, whether convicted or not. Most pedophiles never even see a courtroom. It's pretty scary in that this man might get elected that will render very harmful choices in our Congress. To watching Heather Unruh and many other celebrities, Cory Feldman, and the Congresswoman, which recently came out on the Senate floors, talking about we have elected officials that are not just inappropriate, but are predatory on AIDS. This has to stop. But I'm not going to talk about how that's going to stop. What I want to say is, even to the Rose McGowans, who really has had an onslaught. Rose, if you're listening to me, Cory Feldman, if you're watching this, Heather Unruh, if you're watching, I thank you. I thank you, thank you, thank you, because you're part of the reason why I'm doing this video. So I want to ask you, as I say that, I want to talk to you about how the energies have been crazy and how this kind of all relates. Excuse me. Energies have been nuts, have they not? Especially over the past few years. And last year was all about, it was a 9-year number, first of all, so that means that we were ending a chapter. The universe has been giving us opportunities to clean up our junk, align with our soul purpose and authentic truths. There's a big shift, and it's not about what we want, it's about how we fit into the larger scheme of things. And this year has been about, it's a 1 year, so it's a new beginning, and it's forcing us to do a lot of self-care, and those that already do self-care are noticing you had to really even up it up tenfold, okay? because there is a lot of shift. When we have that shift and we got one paradigm and the other one's here and it collides, right? When it collides, it creates a... And how do we fit into that? Well, one of the things I have noticed, especially since the solar eclipse in August of this year, 2017, is that many truths are being revealed, and I'm cheering it on. When I'm watching all these media posts, when I saw the media talk about how domestic violence and mass shootings are linked, I felt a sigh of relief. Not that I didn't have compassion for those that lost their lives, that's not what I'm saying. But that I felt that all of us that have been suffering, trying to speak our truths and have been silenced. We've been silenced by the media, we've been silenced by our politicians, we've been silenced by the big money people, okay? And that's been a challenge. So to see all these truths being revealed has been very awakening even for me. What I've also seen is that the shadows can no longer hide in the darkness. The light and the healing power of the divine feminine energies are rising. The shadows can't hide anymore. The light is coming. So we can choose what we want to focus on. And if we choose our focus on the things that are the horrible things, then we're missing the bigger picture. So you must be asking me, why do I bless my junk? Well, between what I've seen play out over the past few months in the media, as I mentioned before, on top of what I know I have endured personally with the repeated abuses, my own healing path, what is happening now, and what I've been seeing with those that have been coming in, whether it's those that have been afflicted with rape, some form of trauma, addictions, cancer, other illnesses or diseases, pre-op, post-op. I'm seeing a lot of commonalities, a lot of themes play out. I had to kind of stop and pause for a moment and reflect. And when I did that, I actually felt a big sigh of relief, and I sat in gratitude for experiencing all these multiple traumas that I have endured through my life, from the child abuse to how I was sexually abducted at the age of 13. Fortunately, I escaped that unharmed for the most part, but I never even talked about it until about a year ago. How I was raped at 15, and again, something I never talked about until about maybe 2 years ago. And even then, up until now, I used to say that I lost my virginity not by my choice. I had a really hard time using the word rape. How I was roofied when I was in college, and if it wasn't for a friend of mine visiting me at that time, who pulled me out of the car of 4 strange men, I may not be here today doing this video. To how I married somebody who was very calculating and manipulative and abusive, that stole 20 years of my life. And then when I went to the system, as I thought the laws are there to protect us, right? To protect me, I was actually re-victimized and re-traumatized. And that was when I actually developed PTSD. And so you must be thinking then, what? Are you nuts? How can you bless your junk? Well, I've been on my healing path for over 10 years now. I want to say I did kind of like a college level grade education on myself and my own healing, and really partnering with my soul and my inner workings to heal a lot of those traumas, especially at a time when nobody believed my story. I mean, I had assault and battery records disappear out of the police department, photos and all. And I was told I was cray-cray until I found copies of my own victim witness statements and went back, but there was no recourse for the damage. The damage was already done. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would bless my own junk, I probably would have said that you were cray-cray. Okay? Probably would have said that. But this is what happens when we go onto the healing journey and the healing path. So why do I bless my junk? One, without it and working on my own traumas and my own junk in an area that no degree or training would ever render my abilities to not only help myself, but to help others. My level of empathy and compassion would not be as pure. My eyes would not be as open and my awareness as clear. Okay? I also, without it, would not necessarily have landed maybe in the healing arts, at least maybe not in this capacity that I am right now. Without it, I would not be as close to my own soul, living my own authentic truth to the degree that I am today. And that's the reality, okay? Our souls come here for lessons. Unfortunately, and please hear me, this is not to minimize maybe something that you may have experienced, but our souls do not distinguish between good and bad. That comes from our own perceptions, our own experiences. That's the human side. But when we can step outside of those experiences and align with our authentic truths and shift our perspectives just a little bit, that's when we gain our power and we gain our clarity. Okay? One, it's not about, hear me clearly, it's not about letting our abusers get away with it. It's about freeing ourselves from our past, freeing ourselves from what had happened to us. Because what happened to us cannot be changed, but we do have the power to choose right here, right now, how to change that story, how we will write the next chapter. This is where the battle now lies within. It doesn't lie outside of us or external. One of the things I talk a lot about is that what we see outside here in the world is really reflective of what we see inside. I tried to go up against Big Brother. I had 20 cases against one judge. 2 of them were documented sex abuse cases. And I was slaughtered for speaking for the children. So I shifted my frequency, I shifted my focus. I still had the same battle, but I figured if I worked on my own core, my own authenticity, my own healing, then I now become, as Tesla would say, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Then I change my frequency, I change my vibration, and let that become magnetized. Okay? Our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Okay? Sometimes we need a little help, but at the end of the day, our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Again, we search externally for solutions and answers to something that's an internal issue. Okay? Our society has brainwashed us to turn our power over to our abusers, to our governments, to our communities, to corporations, to our school systems, to our religions. Think about it. How much have you turned your own power over to something external? When did you lose your power? When we can take back our power back and bless our junk, we free ourselves and we begin to live more empowered and authentically. It's been a 12-year journey for me back to myself, and I still feel I'm a work in progress. But the idea of really blessing our junk, not being ruled by fear. There was a time me talking about what happened to me was a challenge because people judged me. People criticized. I even had one church hold special meetings over how to get rid of me because of what happened to me, that it was out of my control. And I began living in a state of fear. But when I began to take my power back and I aligned to my truth, nobody can touch that. And I'm hoping that what I've said here helps empower you or somebody you know. And we're going to end with a little music and some breathing. So if you find yourself anxious or having some fear, I would just ask you to just breathe in and breathe out. And when you do that, the mind can't be focused on here or there. The mind and body come together and are aligned as one. So even by saying, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, you are in the here, you are in the now. Focus on you and your authenticity. And I thank you for watching, and I would love your feedback. I am here, by the way, to help illuminate your soul, guide you on your path, and to help restore you to wholeness. So if you feel that I can be of any benefit to you in your path, you may visit my website at www.laurahealingwithspirit.com. Thank you, and namaste.